Hi everyone, it's Catherine here for Inkyfinger Cat. So I thought I'd start a sort of weird series. I bought this kit from, I bought it from WH Smith's, but I think you can get it from quite a few different places, sort of newsagent type places. And I thought I'd try and use it all up and do it all as videos. Let's see how that goes. So I'm just sharing it with you here. So it comes in a little box. There's a pull apart, like the middle of the magazine is all papers you can use, and then there is an inspiration magazine. This is pretty much as I do in terms of looking at the magazines, because I generally, I'm not that interested in following an instruction. We all know I'm not very good at following instructions and rules. So that's not really how I do things. So in the set, there is this quite large stamp set, probably just shy of A4. It's not quite an A4 size, probably just over half an A4. With beautiful hummingbirds, some beautiful fuchsias, and then some flowers that probably somebody else would be able to tell me the name of them. I have no idea. And some nice sentiments in there. Then you also get this embossing folder. It is only a 2D embossing folder, which is perfectly fine, but again it has kind of like a hummingbird with the fuchsia element, so lovely for a horizontal card, a landscape card. Then there is a die set. I have to say I'm not impressed with the amount of plastic that's in this kit, which is slightly annoying, but never mind. But that's what happens sometimes, unfortunately. Now the die cuts out that large fuchsia. It cuts out three of the floral shapes. I've just realised there's 3 of the floral shapes and 1 leaf. Just as solid kind of shapes. And then it also comes with this stencil, which is very cute. Lots of different like leaf sprig type and little floral elements. So that's my kit. The papers, it has got a whole load of pages that are kind of just full sheets of floral, A4, double-sided, so there's one that's slightly more patterned and then one that's not, and then there's quite a few pages of the kind of the card toppers type elements, sentiments, or elements that you could use as card toppers. It is a paper, it isn't cardstock, and it's not that thick, but it's reasonable. So I would probably want to use it as papers, but for the toppers I'm probably going to end up using cardstock to back them on, because I just don't think they're thick enough to withstand very much. So today is the first card that I'm making using this kit. I am using the single flower stamps and leaf stamps, and I decided to do a whole sheet of A4 basically in each of the corners, and then turned it over and did the other corners, just so I didn't have to move the stamps, to be honest. And then I am only going to use sort of one side, so I'm going to colour this side, the flowers and the leaves, using inks. I'm using Concord and Ninth inks, and I choose the 2 different colours of the pink, and then 2 different colours of green, but I do end up adding in another 3rd colour of green in the end. So this is watermelon. Wildberry is the other one. I think it's eucalyptus and nope, can't remember the dark colour green, but I end up using another colour green as well, so the leaves become sort of like multicoloured. I stamped it all using my VersaFine ink. In some cases I double stamped just because I wasn't particularly precise in when I was popping the stamp platform lid over. I didn't press down very well in a couple of places, so I did double stamp them. And then I'm just using water and the ink to give some colour to all of my images. So you can see here I've done the sort of the star type flowers that are in a dark pink, and then the lighter pink for the rounded flowers. Look a little bit like a pansy. I don't know if they are. You know me, I'm not particularly good at knowing exactly what I'm looking at. There are some flowers I know and some flowers I don't know. I just enjoyed myself listening to the radio whilst I was doing this. It took a little while, but the next thing that took a little while was the cutting them out. So, as I said, those dies, it had got one of the leaves. So, sorry, this is where I've started to bring in that sort of more yellow green into the leaves, and I much prefer that to the bluey green. Sometimes I really like a blue green, but in this case I didn't. I'll come back to the fussy cut in a second. So this is where I am just literally cutting my panels into quarter, and then those two other ones I've just popped to one side. I will use them on another card at some point, because what I'll do at the end of this is I will pack everything up, pop it all in a pouch, and then when I next want to play with this, I'll come back, pop the video on, and we'll see what I make from the next lot of stuff. I am trying not to bring too much into this particular card that's not in the kit. Obviously, I've used some white cardstock. That isn't something that was in the kit. My own inks. I do end up bringing in, obviously, the coloured cardstock and stuff that goes to make the card blank. But I've not used any other additional products like any other stamps or die cuts at this point. I do end up bringing some sequins in, but I'll talk about those in a minute. Right, I'm going to start speeding up the fast forwarding now. As you can imagine, quite a lot of bits and pieces there to cut out. It takes me a little while. I'm not bothered about fussy cutting. It's not my favourite thing to do, but I don't actually mind it, especially on this particular day. I was listening to the radio, so I wasn't really concentrating too much on how long this was taking, because I was listening to music, and you know, it was absolutely fine. These are particularly easy shapes to cut out as well, I have to say. Quite simple shapes, just a little bit. I mean, you could even curve them more so you weren't following the lines as much as I was. But those star-shaped flowers are also particularly easy to cut out. So probably took me about 8 minutes, 9 minutes or something to cut them out in real life time rather than speed it up. And now we'll slow back down to being only ×4. As you know, I do not tend to do videos where I do them at the right timing. I tend to speed everything up and do a voiceover just because I don't talk whilst I'm crafting. It's just something I've discovered I'm really bad at doing. And I don't think it's fair on you guys to sit there and watch hour-long videos. I think in total this card probably took me about 35-40 minutes, something like that. Now, you'll have seen there, I had a bit of to-ing and fro-ing with cardstock, trying to find the right colour cardstock, and I ended up going with this quite bright zingy green, as opposed to the pink that I was originally thinking I was doing. And it takes a little bit of faffing as well, just to get the placement of these flowers and leaves okay. I'm sort of vaguely happy with what I've got there. And then I just start sticking them down. And they do move around a little bit from the original placement, but not too much. So I am literally just dotting some glue on the flowers in particular, because I kind of like the dimension of them. The leaves I'm putting a little bit flatter, but the flowers I'm tending to be dotting towards the centre rather than having the entire petals sort of sorted out. This last one I decided to just snip in half so I could have a little bit of that bright pink poking out the left and the right hand side. And then I totally changed my mind about the way that it's going to get orientated, because it becomes a portrait card. So I had a little look through these sort of like toppers just to see which one I wanted to add, and I went with this banner shape in the pink that I thought worked well with the colours that I'd chosen for the inking. I mean, I had sort of had in mind what were the colours of the kit when I first started, but then my greens went totally different from how the kit was. Now, this is where I'm saying I think it's going to need all of those toppers to have some kind of card backing, because it's not very thick at all. So in this case, because I've got the black liner of the flowers, I went with black for my banner topper. That's kind of matte, that banner. And then I am just adding some foam tapes. You do not need to add glue to the back of them. The reason I do that is just it gives you a bit of wiggle room on the final kind of placement. Whereas if you'd stuck them down, you've got less chance that they're going to actually move around. Less chance that you'll be able to wriggle it if you've not quite got it straight. And this is where I chose, this is a sequin mix from Hey Little Magpie. I've realised that my whole desk has gone a bit squiffy at this point. My mat's gone squiffy, so apologies for those of you who like it to lay straight on. It's gone a bit weird there. But yeah, I decided that I wanted to add in the sequins to the centre of each of the flowers, so it was the Hey Little Magpie sequin mix. Now, what I forgot to mention earlier was I did do a little bit of just simple line embossing using my trimmer and the scoring blade. I just added some sort of like stripes around each of the edges at 1/2 centimetre each, and in fact they might have even been 1 centimetre each. And then that card topper I then made into a card. Sorry, I gave it some dimension by just adding some scrap grey cardstock behind. I chose the grey cardstock just because it's just not a colour I'm going to use very often, and I hadn't got any of the foam, craft foam. And then stuck it onto my card blank that I'd made from that lovely zingy green. Added a white sheet on the middle just to strengthen it because it is quite a thin cardstock, and also to be able to write a sentiment. So there you go, there's card number 1, just using the stamps and one of the little toppers to finish off. So I hope you're going to enjoy this series. I don't know when I'll be next back with a video, but hopefully you're going to enjoy seeing me use up this magazine kit. Until next time though, please subscribe to see more. Bye bye.